I'm 40 years of age, and yes, I know I don't look it, thank you. But I'm here today to present my story. Now, a lot of you may never have heard about me before. If you have, then you're going to hear the same story that I repeated last year at a smaller luncheon. For any of you that may feel triggered by some of the things I'm going to talk about, then I'm really sorry if this has happened to you in your past. Growing up in the 80s, I grew up on a farm down in Victoria. So my mum conceived myself with my dad. Unfortunately, my dad, by the time I was conceived, turned into a violent man. He got jealous that I was in the tummy, and he decided to drink. He was also part of the bikie clan down in Melbourne, and did some pretty rough things. And unfortunately, one night when I was in my mother's womb, he decided to punch her so hard that my labour came premature, and I was born 6 weeks preemie. Once I was born 6 weeks preemie, from that violent punch, it also stopped my growth, hormone as well. I can tell you that I do tell everybody I'm 5 foot, but in fact I'm 4 foot 11 and a half, and my bosses don't even know that. So, but it's okay, because everything is alright. Everything's temporary, how you feel, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer to overcome those thoughts. So moving from that, basically I grew up, already trying to survive. I was talking at 9 months old. Well, that's I can picture that. But the abuse, I think, from the time I was in the womb up until from about 9 years of age was pretty epic. So my father, if I can be brutally honest, used to bash my mother so terribly and so violently that she would hide as much as she could. My brother was born, he was still doing it. He, held a knife to her neck for sex. He threw hot meals that she would spend all days cooking. There was no meal aid back in them days. It was just an oven, whatever she could afford secondhand from somebody else. So pretty much it got so violent, but no one could see it because, behind closed doors, right? We had boats, we had a caravan park in Bonnie Doon, no jokes. And we used to water ski, I learned how to ski it too. And, everyone else could see life looking so amazing. We had the assets, we had the jet skis, the boats, the exciting times, but within those closed doors, life was absolutely the worst you could possibly think. And I can never forget those times that my mother, had a man's hand, he was 6.5 foot tall, raised to her face and just constant smashing it. It's horrible. And I really hope, ladies and gentlemen, that none of you have experienced it, and if you are, or you have in the past, I hope you've got through it, or if you are dealing with some kind of trauma right now, I hope you're going to get through it, and I know that you will. So moving forward, I was 5 years old, and I was state champion horse rider. That was me as a little cowgirl. I had 10 horses, and my mum helped me guide through equestrian down in the western areas of Melbourne, and it was quite successful. My mum had a plan though, as we all do. My mum's plan was to leave. She had to break away. She couldn't deal with it anymore. It was too much. My brother, Winton was his name, he didn't really understand because he was 2 years younger than me, but I understood from a very young age because I had to learn. So Mum said to me, Cristal, we're gonna do a runner tomorrow. This was, as I said, back in the 80s, we're gonna do a runner. Your dad's going to work. He used to work in an abattoir, and I used to have to sit there and watch him do his job as well, so that was pretty horrible. And no, I'm not a vegetarian. Don't know what. But basically, Mum said, Cristal, you've got to be ready. I need you to get ready to pack, jump in the car when I say. That next day came, he took off to work. Mum made his lunch like, she always did because she was an amazing woman. And then that was it. It was on. We had to jump in the back of that car. And as I turned and looked at the back of that house, I saw my dog. My only dog. This was my first goodbye. And even today, it still breaks me because I remember that beautiful dog. Her name was Lady. She was a collie just like Lassie. And she sat at that driveway as we drove out. That day, the next night I should say, when my father found out that we had done a runner, he shot my dog in the head. And then he shot my 10 horses that I'd, worked so hard as, to ride and train, and it's not easy owning horses if any of you guys have ever actually lived that way. So I was 9 at the time, and then we were basically running for our lives for 2 years. I was his sparrow, that was his call. He never hurt me directly, except for the abuse that I would see him cause my brother, my mum, and my grandmother at the time. Anyway, so 9 came, we did a run, and we moved into another suburb of Melbourne, and we were at school after school after school, because he'd show up, and the police didn't want to know about it unless they were getting paid back in them days, so, it was tough. But when I was 11, I heard on the radio that there was a massive truck accident. Massive. There were police, helicopters, everything, and I found out it was my dad. You know what? I didn't cry. I actually smiled that day, because that was one less person to lay hands onto a woman and a child and an animal and a pet. So after that time came, I thought, oh my God, I'm safe. Holy shit, I'm safe. I'm now 11. I've got a brother. My mum's moved on. She seems happy. Awesome. But it wasn't that way. Mum had a lot of issues, obviously, from that initial marriage. So leaving the country and becoming a sister, I became very close to my brother. And then obviously moving forward, we moved into another area of Melbourne, and Mum had my sister, who actually is 10 years younger. And my sister was this beautiful little doll. She was like a dancer eventually, and as in with Johnny Young talent, she was very creative and things like that. So as Mum got into this relationship, and I was starting to become a teenager, developing in the right ways, and just noticing a few friends and boys and whatever else. Mum's partner at the time was getting really bad headaches. And when you get headaches, he takes some Panadol, but he ended up going to hospital and he had aneurysm. What the hell? So here's Mum thinking her life is going to, start afresh. Nope. Aneurysm. He ended up having a stroke on the table. Yeah. So from then, not only was my life, I did become an adult very quickly because I had to look after my brother and my sister. But basically, Mum had to help that rehabilitation occur because his whole left-hand side was paralysed. There's a lot of stroke victims, it's very common that we may know one in our lifetime, and it's horrible. Unfortunately, after his recovery, he did not move forward in a better frame of mind. He became an alcoholic, he became abusive. Mum's back in the same goddamn position that she was back in the 80s. And I had to see it all and pretty much close an eye off because everyone thought we were another perfect family because behind closed doors. It's amazing what materialistic things can make you look like when it's not even the case. So basically after that time, Mum was like, I've had enough. Maybe it's just time that we just go to Queensland. Everyone talks about Queensland, it's a sunny life, the beach, the girls, the men, the fashion. Let's just go to Queensland, it'll change everything. Well, yeah, definitely change our views about life, the warmth, the happiness and all those things, but it could never change what had happened with, that stroke, the alcoholism and everything like that. So anyway, life was becoming, for me personally, was finally reachable. It was really incredible. My brother's asthma was a lot less, we got a waterfront home. I was riding my surfing bike up to Miami High. I was meeting all these cool new people. I was fluent in Japanese. I was excellent in tourism, public speaking, cooking. My favourite was actually woodworking, and no, I'm not a boy. But everything turned out for what I thought was going to be amazing. It didn't. No. So I was 16 at this point. I'd lived here for 2 years, and I was in woodwork class. I was mucking around with the boys because I was always one of the boys, I guess you would say, and I cut my thumb. Just a simple cut. And I walked away a corner and I passed out. I hit my head on the buffer that was not covered and I fractured my skull then and there. I then flipped around because I hit my head so damn hard and I bounced on that floor and I had a blood clot. I was actually fitting on the floor. I don't remember any of this and I woke up in a month later after being on life support. Yeah. So when I woke up, I actually thought I was at McDonald's. Don't know where your subconscious sometimes can get to. But I woke up and I was a whole lot of different Cristal. All my memory had gone, all my studies. I couldn't remember how to say hello in Japanese. Come on, I was fluent, like what the hell's happened? So basically, I woke up with half a head full of shaved head, 52 stitches, and then I was somehow meant to go back to school and look normal. Already, I'm like, well, 5 foot tall and personality, you know, obviously loud, but you get bullied and judged so much in school. So imagine me going back at 16 to Miami High with half a head shaved. I couldn't do it. So all my friends came over to visit me and it was great, but I couldn't finish my education that year. It all got too much for me. So basically after fractured skull, the doctors told me that my brain was now active like a 12-year-old. 12-year-old. So I was at this point in like 16, living my best life, and now my brain, like my social skills were gone, my memory was gone. So I tried to take my own life. Yeah, and that's a hard pill to swallow because there's some people here that I love very much that didn't know this, but you know, I just didn't understand why there was so much pain thrown at me. You know, I'm not a bad person, like why me? You know, and I couldn't see past that there until my mum found me and I was very unwell, got put into hospital. Next day, basically, I saw all these kids that had cancer, leukemia, no legs, no arms, half of them couldn't talk, they were dying. Here's me having an issue because I've got 52 stitches in my head. Like, settle down, Cristal. There are so many more people more important than you. So that was the day that I turned and I needed to do work to myself. I had to help my cognitive brain and to do a lot of training for the memory that I've lost. And I achieved it, but I'm still learning as we all are, right, every day. So basically, once all of that happened, I was able to get a job. Doctor said I couldn't hold a job down. Doctor said I couldn't drive. I walked out there with my middle finger held high, and I went, "You're not going to stop me. I'm 5 foot tall, mate. No way. Not going to happen." So anyway, I turned 18 and had a job, had a car, had good friends. Things were okay. But then I kind of met who I thought was the love of my life. I'm like, oh, okay. At this point, I was toward the end of my 18th year. Wasn't really interested in men. I loved people generally, but not romantically until I met this one guy. Anyway, I was like, holy shit, the hell's this? Life, you know, kind of, we worked together, not worked together, but we formed a relationship as you do, and there was trust built and everything like that. And basically, I felt head over heels for this person. We moved in within 12 months together into a caravan park because we couldn't afford. Got to figure the rentals were still as crap as they are today. But we lived together. I actually started working through, I don't know if you guys are aware, through Wyndham Resorts, RCI, Marriott. So I've started off as a telemarketer and timeshare. Timeshare was great, wasn't it? And literally, yeah, I started that. So I was becoming really successful. I got promotion straight away. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I'm finally coming back. And then my ex punched me. Smack bang in the face when I opened the door when I got home. Now, I thought this was okay. Do you know why? Cristal, this person, they're just so fantastic. Little did they know. Makeup was really good to cover a lot of the black eyes. So over time, I became very confused. He started throwing knives at me and a whole even more. I'm not going to get into it worse than it is, but a whole lot worse. So I was like, you know what, it's my fault because clearly I don't deserve anything good in my life at this point. I thought I'd try to make a run for it, beg me to come back, so the same constant life as my mum lived. It's just absolutely stupid. Why would you? Anyway, I found out I was in denial. So with all of that going on, in 2001, I had a phone call. The phone call went like this: Cristal, I'm so sorry, darling. I got lung cancer and I have 12 months to live. That's my mum. 12, that beautiful lady there, I got 12 months to live. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I cried and I said, you're gonna be okay, you're gonna fight through this, Mum, because you're a survivor. No one's gonna take you away from this earth. You're going to get through this and it's gonna be okay. Anyway, I was devastated. I couldn't talk to anyone. My fiance's family were all assholes. I had a sister that was 9 and a brother that was turning 18, so I had to obviously tell them, which is, I mean, try telling a 9-year-old that your mum's probably got 12 months to live. You know, that's in turn going to affect her life possibly, and then, you know, and some. It was a massive disruption in my life. Over time, Mum got sick, and I'm really sorry if anyone is going through this at the moment too. If you're going with your family or friends or you know someone, I really hope they get through this tough time. But over time, Mum got so sick she was incapable of enjoying life. Chemo, radiation, hospital stays. She started thieving in the shops because her mind was so reluctant to think straight. It was impossible to help her. She didn't want a mother anymore. Get away from me. I'm sick. I don't want to know you. I hate you. I hate me. I hate everything. And hate's a strong word. I really use it. But anyway, in 2003, things got a bit out of hand, and my fiance at the time said, we need to go. I can't take this. And because I was so loyal, I said, all right, we'll go. We moved to Cairns. Moved to Cairns, beautiful, beautiful place on the top end. Beautiful ladies down here from, well, a few hours from there, but they understand it's stunning up that way. If you can get up that way, I'd suggest it. But basically, I couldn't, my heart, I felt the guilt. My mum was dying. I was choosing a man that was so violent and yet still choosing him while my mum was dying. You know, I didn't even know what I was thinking, who I was, clearly. So I moved back about a year later. And that's when my drinking began. I became an alcoholic. It's all the pain of just, it's so cheap to just buy a bottle of vodka, drink the whole damn thing straight, mind you. It didn't matter. It took my pain away. It took my mindset away from all that pain and negativity from birth. So, time passed. I decided that, okay, cool, I can drink at night time and still sustain a job at daytime. Probably not ideal driving there, but I still did it. And I did my job really well. I don't know how back in the day, but I did it. So February 2004, that was the year I was getting married. I got a phone call on a Saturday morning previous to a week, and it was my mum going, Cristal, I've got cancer, I'm in remission. You told me I'd do it, and I've done it, and I'm just so happy. And I'm like, I love you, Mum. That was the last time she actually even heard me say I love her. A week later, she got pneumonia and died. I was 21 years of age, and she was an amazing woman. That woman, she, the most caring, she'd walk in a room and it would light up, like, she'd tell jokes and they'd just be that damn funny that it didn't even make sense, but her laugh was so just, addictive. Anyway, she died of pneumonia. So she fought lung cancer, pneumonia got her in the end. What a pain in the ass that is. Anyway, I took time off work and, you know, basically I said goodbye to Mum, and I had to call my brother, you know, to achieve to take all my family up there. But yeah, she died. And, you know, as my sister and as I held my sister in my chest and I wrapped my arms around her, my mum took her last breath. And that right there, I knew that she was at peace. So I was very lucky to say goodbye to her. And I hope that if anyone in your lifetime that you're so close to does pass, that you actually get to say goodbye, because guys, like, I wish I could call my mum, and I'm very lucky that my partner's mum is such a beautiful soul, I can feel that way, but I wish I could call my mum like Mother's Day. I love you, Mum. Birthdays, or just achievements. I made 3.2 million in sales in April in Bean Lee. Eagle Bean, if none of you know what that is, that's a real low, uneducated, I shouldn't say that's a bit rough. But look, it's a very, sales price there is like $5.30 as a medium sales price, okay, so get what I mean. So it takes a lot of hard work and a lot of nurturing, but I couldn't ring my mum, is what I'm saying. I could put it on social media. Holy shit, I've got an amazing, feeling of that, but it's just not the same. So if you guys have a mum, dad, someone that you're going through that's, struggling with cancers or whatever, please don't let go of them and make sure they know how you feel before it's too late, okay? So basically, November I was married. It was a beautiful day. I looked like an absolute princess. Got married on a boat. You see about me, I've always been a boatie. Love my fishing. I'm a bit of a bogan sometimes, even though I don't look it today. But same year, I was married. I thought maybe things would change. Maybe. Years passed. I was not a sister any longer. I was surrogate mum to my sister. I helped her go through high school. I got her a first job, bought her a first car. These are the things you do as a parent, right? Apparently. So for me, I had to shut off my reserve as a sister and become that independent role model to my sister. And she is now a music teacher. She has a son. She's married. She's doing an exceptional part in her life. I couldn't be happier. One of the hardest things, though, I struggled with is looking after everyone but me. I thought that I was keeping an eye on how my family, well, the last of them were doing. In fact, I remember a phone call I had with my brother. And me and my brother, we were best mates. 2 years apart. He was 6.5 foot tall. I'm down the other end of the scale. But God damn, he hugged me like an absolute legend. Anyway, I had a phone call from him one night saying, Cristal, you are such a gift to this earth, that people can put you through so much and you pain in your lifetime, and you're able to still give the goodness to people, no matter what. 2 weeks after that, I didn't know that would be the last time I speak to my brother. I know, it's pretty hectic, isn't it, my life? Well, it was. So I didn't know that he was trying to subside his pain, and it wasn't with alcohol, it was with the drug ice. I didn't know. I never took it myself. Maybe I had joints here and there, when who hasn't, but I never took it to that level. But I had a phone call 31st of August. And the phone call went, Cristal, I'm so sorry. Bawling, this young girl, bawling her eyes out. Cristal, I'm so sorry. And I'm driving and I'm stopped at the lights. And I'm like, Amanda, what's wrong, honey? Quinton, he's dead. I dropped my phone, I vomited everywhere. Then and there. I had to get my car back to where I was staying at the time. Then I had to go view his body. Then I had to go tell my grandmother that another grandson's gone to drugs. His heart stopped at 21. He went to my medical clinic, walked in, the doors open, and he fell, dropped dead then and there. That today is still the hardest part of my life. I said goodbye to Mum, but I've got no closure with my brother. And that man there, he used to work with Steve Earle. He's an incredible animal friend, I guess you'd say. And yeah, I've lost pretty much all my family at this point. So, I mean, my dad, obviously, I couldn't care less about, but Mum and brother, I mean, who would have thought? So that broke me. I had to, as I said, tell my family that was left, and I turned harder to the bottle. It wasn't just a bottle of vodka. I actually rum, whatever I could afford, to be honest, because I couldn't work for a few weeks after that because my whole body shut down. All I could do was drink alcohol, and my husband was still punching the shit out of me. I hated everything. Everything was an uphill battle. I felt abandoned, out of control, useless, just a plague of pain. So after all this pain, the hurt, the sorrow, there's still some point in the back of my head that I've still got a sister to look after. I still had a grandmother that needed me. Pay the bills, dogs to feed. I had no choice but to continue. Later that year, I was 23 by then, so I lost all my family, had a marriage that was very abusive, but I still had one thought in the back of my head, being a mum. Because maybe I could change someone's life from my bloodline of being a mum. I found out at 23 that I'm barren and I can't have kids, and I can only have IVF if I'm lucky. What the fuck? I'm sorry to swear, but that was really, and I still think about it today, what the fuck? 3 IVF cycles with a man that was, horrible. 1 major surgery, $80,000 spent. $80,000, and I'm really sorry if anyone's going through fertility treatment right now or have done in the past. So I really hope it works for you. But I sat down one day by myself, and I went, something's got to give. I became aware. I realised that I just needed to stop. There's no more. I started to believe everything happens for a reason. I mean, reasons are my mum was a smoker for all her life, so there you go, lung cancer. My brother did drugs effectively, so his heart stops. Yep, so it all kind of worked out. The more I thought about it, the more people made a choice, okay? By the age of 26, I purchased my first home. I had a job, a very stable job at that. I let go a lot of horrible friends that were connected with my ex-husband. Started making some changes, and even though the abuse never stopped, I still helped my husband build his business up as an electrician for a long, long time. Caught him cheating at 31. Caught him cheating in a spa with a friend that said that was a friend. And I just scratched my head, tears running down my eyes, and I'm like, okay, that's it. There's no more. I wanted to end my life again at 31. So I'm 40 now, so 31. So my brother's ashes were in my lounge room. There was tablets and there was a lot of bottles of wine, and I just thought, why not? I'm selfish. I'm just going to take my own life, because what the bloody hell am I doing here? So I sent my ex a text saying, after everything he put me through, I still was the one taking the blame. And I said, I could never be the right woman for you, I'm sorry. I got woken up in hospital. The door was kicked in. It was pretty messy. That next day, I basically had a friend who took me away to Sydney for 2 weeks. Cristal, you've got to break it. Get out. Come with me for 2 weeks to Sydney. I've never once said yes to anyone as quickly as I said yes to her that day. And I did. And I went to Sydney and I started networking, meeting all these people, and it was great. I was like, these people like me. Oh my God, they don't see the bruises. They don't see the people I miss. They don't see all of that. They just see little Cristal that's just an absolute pocket rocket that's able to make you feel good. I got back from Sydney and I walked into that house and I stood up very high and I went, I'm out. I moved out with whatever I could grab. TV, I'm pretty sure, camera, and some bad clothes. And I moved in with my grandmother. At 31 years of age, moving back in with your grandmother when she's in her late 80s, whoa. Holy shit, things change. Yeah, so I couldn't have a late night rendezvous or whatever. I couldn't do anything because I had so much respect for my grandmother, who is still alive today, just throwing it out there. So I felt weak. Once I moved, it was time to make a choice. And I will explain to you very shortly about the 3 C's in life on how you can achieve to make a choice, because we all have one. So once I started moving in with Grandma, I stopped drinking alcohol. That was a good start. My mind started creating healthier thoughts, and then I got to gym. I lost 20 kilos in 3 months. 20 kilos. Do you know how hard that is if any of you have had a fitness plan or you could follow it? I mean, it was amazing. And then all of a sudden, my confidence come back. All these people on the streets would actually turn and look at me as I was walking behind them, and I was like, woohoo! This is amazing. Oh my God. Surface didn't know what was coming at it. Yeah. I was like, I've lived this life of abuse and pain. No, I'm in my 30s now. What the hell? I'm no way going to let this happen anymore. So I did. I went and partied. Yep. I had a few one-night stands too. Yeah. It's amazing. Sorry, baby. But in saying that, I found me again. That's what I'm getting at. The moral of the story is after all this hard time, I found me again, and it was the best damn thing ever. So after all of that, coming into a year of living with my grandma, I found fishing, like rod fishing. Not fishing for compliments, not fishing for all the rest on social media, just fishing. I caught this fish that was the size of me. Jewfish. It was like, I don't even know, 13 kilo or something ridiculous. But it was huge. It's on my phone today because it inspires me every day. But my fishing created such an interest in people through social media that they wanted to fish. Okay, so you want to fish, I can teach you how to fish. Come with me and let me help you help your mind through fishing. I started a Bikini Bandit. Yeah, it's called Bikini Bandits. Fishing group, girls, we're in our bikinis. Woo! The girls coming into Surfers Paradise, they were loving it. They wanted to be us. Guys, couldn't look away. They were just, some of them were a bit gross, sorry guys. But the ABC then got a hold of me. The radio station, right? And they said, Cristal, you're amazing. You're fishing, you're teaching people how to fish. We want you to run your own segment on the radio. I nearly fell over. I'm like, I don't even listen to the radio. I'm on like the Spotify or whatever. So okay, so radio is still on, sweet. So I had a few interviews. Unfortunately in my life that was not for me. But the girls that I had that I trained, they learned so many life skills whilst I trained them, and children as well, that I was able to help so many people. So once you find something that, creates such a beautiful, magnificent mindset, it's all the way up from there. So basically after fishing, I realised that my life was, I'm partying, I'm in my 30s, I'm fishing, I'm not working, I was doing photography. I've been a photographer, if you don't know, since I was 18. But yeah, life was amazing. A bikini every day. I had shorts, like a white tan through there. It was pretty cool. But it wasn't sustainable. I'm an adult. Yeah, it was fun. Best summer of my life, but I'm so much greater than this. So after all the alcoholism, after all the suicidal thoughts, after everything I've been dealing with, the abuse, the loss of my families, sorry, that's me. I missed a few. That's Megan. So I started living life again. I didn't need anyone in my life at that time. I just loved people. I went out, I networked, and then I got this really good job at Vacation Club, which was selling cruise ships, cruise holidays on cruise ships rather. God damn, I was so good at my job, I was back. I sold this man a $180,000 cruise. Yeah. Unfortunately, he rang me a month later and said he was dying and I had to get the money back. Yeah, I did. Got his money back. But it's all, from past experience and resilience. Now, after doing that, I got back into my wedding photography, family photography. It was amazing. And... hang on. I'll keep it on that one. So basically after all of that and I got my job, I did go on a bit of a dating site, and nothing really interests me. It was, I'm too much for this until I did meet a fella. And 6.5 years later, it kind of didn't work out, unfortunately. Nice man, but he cheated on me 3 times. I must have it on my head, just cheat on me. Because that's, who I am. But cutting that part short, there was a lot of good things. Once again, though, I helped a man kind of raise his self up, and he got an amazing job, and he bought a house. And speaking of buying buying a house, I was with him at the time, and we actually bought through Harcourt's Property Centre. And as you would have heard earlier, that's who I work for. I'm a sales agent. I'm damn successful. Well, I want to be more successful, but it'll happen. But I had the opportunity by meeting a lady by the name of Sue Ward, if any of you may have heard of her. She's a dear friend of mine. She offered me a job because I said, how'd you get into real estate? She offered me a job. That's how you get into real estate. Then I had my lovely principal from Harcourt's give me an interview. And do you know what he said to me after the interview? He said, I've never had anyone close me on an interview before. I was like, sweet. So I'm still there with Harcourt's 3 years in, and I love it. Harcourt's has partly saved my life. My manager, Alex, as well, that is very supportive. All my team, my girls that we work with. It's such an amazing supportive group, am I right? Harcourt's is the bomb, and I could never be more grateful for Harcourt's. Now, as I'm coming to a close on my story, I would like to quickly tell you just a few little ways on how to redirect your mind. Basically, over time, when or between my ex, there was a gentleman that I'd been friends with since I was in my 20s, right? So we were very close, best friends, I guess you could almost say. There was always something there, but nothing ever happened. However, when I did my inspirational speaking last year with women's through Harcourt's, I convinced myself that I was once again not happy by talking. So I left him. And then that's what brings me to here. And within that time, I reconnected with that person, my best friend, that I'd known in my 20s, that is actually here today. And you know what? Finally, my worth at 40 years of age has been found. And I couldn't be more thrilled. I feel more loved than anything in this world. And I'm very, very blessed to have someone so loyal in my life. But isn't it funny how, you take a different path, but if it's meant to be, something always reconnects you to what should be. So here I am, and this is my beautiful partner, Robbie. So this is us this year, and life is the best it's ever been. So basically, moving forward, which I have, got a lot of writing up here. So basically, at this point in time, I have changed my mindset, okay? And it's all with the 3 C's. So let me just talk to you about how healing is a learning to accept what is already here firstly, okay? It's learning into the emotions you're afraid to feel. This is what healing is. And giving your heart permission to ache when it needs to. Healing cannot save you from the darkness, but it can save you to find peace within it. The purpose of healing is to not become the definition of perfection. To heal is to be perfectly human, not to run away from it, guys. Believe in yourself and you will go to all the places that you could have ever imagined. When life gets hard, remember it's temporary. It's temporary with the abuse that I've got. It's temporary with the loss that I've had, because there are now beautiful memories I've learned to deal with. It takes a long time, but you'll get there. And, if you've been happy before, and you would have heard this already, you'll be happy again. There's a reason why life will never knock you down. It's because you're a survivor. When you face difficult times, know the challenges are not to destroy you. They're sent to promote, increase and strengthen you. So to truly incorporate the 3 C's, if none of you know what the 3 C's are, it is about taking a chance to make a choice to make a change. Because you know what, if you're not making a change, then how are you going to make a choice to do those things? Like, you've got to give yourself permission to allow you to change your mindset. And if it's at the gym, a lot of you guys may go for a gym session in the morning to clear out your mindset. You may go for a dance at some, nightclub, or anything to get your mindset right. It's all about giving yourself permission to fail, because failing is learning. Build a commitment to yourself. Have deep, meaningful relationships. Be present with everybody who you talk to. Because if you're not present, then, people pick up on that. And guess what? They start to feel doubtful on themselves, and you don't want anyone to feel like that. The bridges that help you rebuild. Challenge yourself, commit yourself, and personal control will give you that resilience. I'm the most resilient person I think I know. It's all because of the hardship times that I've gone through. It's all because I've been pushed to the deepest part of my soul that I could never get out of. The alcoholism, the not wanting to change your mindset, it's really horrible. But if you can control, you will become incredible on what you achieve in your mindset. And it's the best feeling. Wake up in the morning, tell yourself, this is why I'm getting up in the morning. Because you've got a life to live. You really do. So, basically, when you're facing adversity, once again, personal control, don't give up. You must make a choice to take a chance in your life, or it will never change, guys. Believe me when I say, if you don't take a choice to make a change, it'll never happen. My name is Cristal. Thank you so much for listening to my story.